Hi, I'm the GoofyEuph, and today we're going to talk about something a little different. Today we're going to talk about the drum corps thing that happens all the summer long with DCI spelling thing letters. For those of you who don't know, I marched with the cadets in the summer of 2015. I did that Power of 10 thing with the black uniforms. That was me. Hello, I was there. And we're gonna tell you my story and just kind of my feelings about drum corps in general. And we're gonna talk about it a little bit, and I hope you enjoy. We'll start from the beginning and what got me into drum corps. When I was in high school, we were in a very competitive marching band program, and a lot of kids went off and did drum corps. So that's how I found out about it. And I was like,
whoa, let's do it. That sounds really cool.
And little 16-year-old me was just fawning over all of these corps. And we had multiple people in the baritone section go off and march Boston Crusaders. So when I was 16, sophomore in high school, I was like,
I want to go do the Boston Crusaders.
My mom was like,
you're not gonna march the Boston Crusaders.
So I didn't march that year. And instead, I went to a band camp. And that band camp was a lot of fun. And so because of that, I kind of gave up on drum corps. I know, 1 year of like really wanting to do it, and then it's just like, no more drum corps, not gonna do it. So be it. The urge to do it didn't pop up again really until college, my sophomore year. I had a Tumblr account at the time, and I saw this picture just pop up, and it was just a kid, I think he played trumpet, just in the middle of the field. He was wearing bright red shorts, and he was just standing there, just waiting for directions from the box or something. And I don't know what it was about that picture, but between that and the fact that my boyfriend at the time and I had like watched all of his 2011 finals movies and DVDs and all of those shows and whatever, all of that kind of combined was like, I want to go do drum corps. So lo and behold, January of 2015 comes around, and I'm just like, here we go. We're gonna go all in. So I emailed Gino, who was at the cadets at the time, big cadet guy, and I was like, hey, I really want that baritone spot that you guys have. And he was like, oh, okay, here, send some stuff in that's this, and this. And I was like, oh, okay, I can do that. So I did that. And they were like, all right, we like it. Come to the April camp. And I was like, okay, I will. So I showed up at the April camp, and I almost got cut because I couldn't hold my horn up because I'm a weak little, 20-year-old at the time. I could not hold that thing up for the life of me. So they were like, you better get your shit together by the time spring training comes around. And I was like, okay, great, can do. And so here's a little horn holding training tip. There we go. The best way to practice getting good at holding your horn up is holding your horn up. One of my friends who I went to school with was actually a section leader for the baritone section at the cadets in 2011, and he lent me his horn for a while, and he was like, hey, just practice with that. And I was like, okay. So he was the one who was helping me learn horn moves and helping me learn how to step off with the right foot every time, and making sure that everything kind of worked on its own. Because I had that horn on me all the time, I would just sit there and practice holding it up. Not playing, not marking time, not anything. No, I would just throw on a TV show or a YouTube video or whatever, and it would just, I had a timer on the side that was for 5 minutes, and I would just hold it up. And I would do that 3 or 4 times, like consecutively. Like 5 minutes, hold it up, put it down for a couple minutes, whatever, get a drink of water, relax, whatever. 5 more minutes, holding it up, blah, 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 can't take a minute. 5 more minutes, by the end of it. And then you get, I got ankle weights from Target. They're like 2 pounds, and you just Velcro them onto the end of the horn, like the tubing, or like tie your tennis shoes or something to the end of your horn, hold it up, makes it heavier than it is, and it really helps for horn holding training. That being said, when I showed up at spring training, I was ready to go. I knew how to march on the right foot, and I knew how to hold the horn up for longer than like a minute without wanting to cry. And I did the thing, and I loved drum corps. I learned all this stuff. We did it for 2.5 weeks, and then I got a little pain in my hip, and I was like,
this isn't quite right.
So I decided, I talked to the brass guy. I was like, can I go to the doctor? And he was like, yeah, sure, you can go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like,
It's the groin pull. You should stay off it for a day. Just ice it, relax it, come back when you feel better.
And I went,
Okay, I can do that.
and so that one day I was off, felt really bad, but I was like, gonna get in it tomorrow, gonna rest the heck out of this hip and go ham, get ready to go. And so I did that. However, the pain really didn't go away. If you've ever had a groin pull injury, you understand that one day off of a pulled muscle isn't enough to bring it back. So I was on and off every couple reps for a couple of weeks. And at the end of those 2 weeks, like a couple days before our first show, literally the day before our first show, the brass guy comes to me again. He's like, how's that hip feeling? I go, well, not all that great. He goes, all right, you're gonna go back to the doctor. And I said, sure. Went to a different doctor at a different urgent care, and he was like, it's just a groin pull, it's marching band, it's just a groin pull. Stay off it, ice it, you'll be fine. I was like, I've heard that injuries and like stress fractures happen. Can we just do an x-ray so we know it's not that? And he was like, you know, I don't see how you could ever get a stress fracture for a marching band. But sure, we could try that. And he comes back, like 5 minutes later, he goes, well, miss, you taught me something today. And I go, I didn't want to hear that news. Because he points to a little black line on my pubis bone, and he goes, that right there is a stress fracture. Right there on your hip. And I was like, right, that right there goes my season. That's my season right there. Goodbye. And it was a really rough day, you know? You do this, you work really hard, you practice really hard, you try and get really good so that you're as good for this core as you can be, and you're still having the time of your life. And then this one guy comes in, he's like, oh, you broke your hip? And you're like, oh, can't do the marching thing anymore. It was hard. And the next day we had our first show. So I had to sit. I couldn't even stand. They would not let me stand up smartly because I had a broken hip. They said, you sit there and you watch what you've done. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I could have done this. You know, I'm trying. The day that I did that, this was in the morning. When I get back, it's actually early enough for the day meeting, and it's like the first thing in the day at 9 in the morning. So I show up, get some breakfast, sitting on the sideline because I can't march, and I text the guy who had been helping me with auditions and everything, and with all the horn moves, and who gave me the horn to rent and everything, and I go, I got a stress fracture in my hip, I'm out for the season. And he was very kind. He was like, this sucks, and I'm really sorry for you. And he goes, what are you gonna do? I was like, I don't know. They didn't tell me I had to go home. They gave me the choice, like I could stay or I could go. I had a seat if I wanted it. I've been here through all of spring training, like I've done the work. And he goes, well, if they let you, stay. Stay through the summer. And I go, I'll think about it. By the end of that day, which was the show or whatever, I was like, you know, I've been here long enough, I've chosen my seat partner, I've done all the things, I'm gonna get the most drum corps experience anyone ever had without the actual marching aspect. So I stayed on. In a lot of ways, it was a positive for me, as well as a negative. So the negative was, obviously, I don't get to march anything. And I put on the uniform twice. Once was for a standstill show, and the other was for the retreat at the end of the year. And all of it was very emotional for me, both of those times. So it was a positive thing for me because I was forced to deal with the mental struggles of that summer. For a lot of people, it's physical struggles. It's dealing with being exhausted and being sore and being tired and all of this. And while I didn't necessarily have those struggles to deal with, I had the mental struggle of watching everyone else do something that you worked hard to do and wanted to do and could have done, but cannot anymore due to unforeseen circumstances. And when you're so passionate about something and so willing and so eager to go out and do this whole marching band thing in the summer, and it's ripped away from you because of an injury that no one could have seen coming, it sucks. And throughout the summer, there were a lot of members who, as they were dealing with their own struggles, started to kind of not be so nice to me, and it kind of upset me as well. So all of these things added up, and there were so many times that I wanted to go home. And there were so many, you know, friends who had come to see the shows, and family members and whatever, who just said, if you really want to go, you can come home with us. We'll take you home, it's fine. And while that option was always there to just say, I'm done, I want to go, I didn't go because I figured this was the summer that I dedicated to drum corps. I could go home and practice my euphonium, and, you know, I could go practice that 4 or 5 hours a day and get really good at it, and, you know, that might have been the better professional choice, but it still would have been a mental struggle because I'd be seeing, like, wow, look, I got hurt. I could be seeing everything on social media, all the pictures, all the videos, all the things, and I'd be like, I could have just been there, at least to be there, to experience it. And so I made that choice to stay, and I'm really glad that I did. Because of my choice to stay, I also got some of my, like, a very small handful of my closest friends from there. My C partner especially is my best friend to this day. We talk all the time, we hang out when we can, and he has been a tremendous help to me in some major choices that I've made in my life. He's a really good guy. And I'm really thankful to have him, and I would not have known him had I not stayed in cadets for the summer. We would not have been as close as we are now. And because of all this, the mental struggles that I had to deal with you know, having to watch all of this stuff play out and not be able to participate in it, and having to put on a smile and be positive even though everyone around you just wants to bite your head off, and still learning and, you know, being as eager as you can to help out and work on stuff and do something with what little you're able to do, it taught me a lot, and it helped me really kind of come out of my shell as a person, and it helped me realize that there's so much you can do even if you're not a full-fledged on-the-field marching member. I'm very thankful for the summer that I had in drum corps, as shitty as the circumstances were. You know, I still have problems with my hip. I probably will forever. But regardless of the situation and the circumstances and the repercussions of it in the future, I'm thankful that I got that experience, at least. If it's only just for selfish reasons of, hey, I think I learned something from it, you know? That being said, when it comes to if anyone else wants to do drum corps, just go do it. Who cares? Who cares? There are so many people in the professional classical music world who hate drum corps. They hate it. They hate the aspect of it. They hate the fact that it takes all summer. They hate this and that and all. They don't teach you musical values. They don't blah, 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 blah. List off the reasons why they hate it. That's fine. If you're gonna go do it, that's because you're gonna go do it. It's not because they're gonna tell you to. It's not because they're gonna not tell you to. Live your dreams. Make your choices. You do you, my friend. I'd say you just have to be smart about it. If you're injured, don't push it. If you have, for whatever reason, music staff who is teaching you not great musical values, do not take those home with you. In the end, it's just marching band. Who cares about the numbers and the scores and where you're placed and the drama that occurs with everything? Like, you're a band nerd on a field who chose to pay to get yelled at for 12 hours a day. Where am I going with this? If your heart is set on doing drum corps for 1 season, for 5 seasons, for 27 seasons, if you can manage that, go for it. I say go for it. Live your life, make your choices, you do you. There we go. I'm not someone who is like gung-ho that everyone should do drum corps. I'm not someone who's gung-ho on everyone should hate drum corps because it's the worst thing that ever happened to music. No, I went and did it, obviously, but it's just marching band. It doesn't matter. Like, the actual activity of it really doesn't matter. What drum corps matters for is the experiences and what you take away from it as a whole. You're gonna remember the stories and the people and the experiences more than you're gonna remember the actual marching band part of it. Don't get me wrong, you gotta like marching band and do drum corps, but it's not the whole point. It's very little of the point, I think. I get away from it. What I'm getting at is, that's my story with drum corps. You do you, you make your own choices in life. That being said, if you have any questions for me, like why I marched where I did, or like literally anything drum corps wise, please hit me up. And the least I can do is try and point you in the right direction to get you the information that you want. This is just my story, and I wanted to share it. And so I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.